All right, welcome back everyone to the Quit Quitting course. Today we are on day 4 of the self-sabotage slump methodology. We've gone through S for shoulds and supposed tos, L being lacking clarity. Last week we talked about U, uncertainty, and today we're going to talk about money mindset and how your mindset around money can lead to self-sabotage and lead to you quitting on your goals, whether they be health goals, life goals, relationship goals, business goals, anything like that. Money mindset underpins everything. And when we talk about money mindset, we're going to talk about things like, is more better, more money, more, scarcity and living in scarcity, and understanding the value and the difference between time and money and which is truly our most valuable asset. Because let's face it, says it right here on the screen. Biggie said it best. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Money is important. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you shouldn't care about money or that money can be ignored or disregarded in any facet. Money makes the world go round, and we need money. We live in a society that runs on money. So money is a very real, tangible thing that's very top of mind for most people most of the time. But where I want to maybe switch things for you today is in how we think about money and the importance that we put on money. Because yes, money is an important thing, but understand that money only takes us so far. And even people with a lot of money still think about money probably more than they should be, right? And it actually tends to be more. The more money we have, the more we think about money. But it's for a good reason, right? Money equals safety. It can buy a roof over your head. It can buy food to put in your fridge. It can buy the things that you need, like clothes and transportation and actual life necessities. So to our survival brain, money equals survival and safety. And we know from previous week's modules that safety is priority number 1. Biological imperative priority number 1, always and all times, is safety. So therefore, to our brain, to our survival brain, money becomes priority number 1. It's a very simple thought ladder. We value money so highly because it feels like money can keep us safe. It feels like money is the most important thing. So the question is more money really better? Because it feels like it is, right? We feel like more is better because that feels like more safety, bigger safety net. I have a bigger cushion. And it feels like we want it faster because the sooner I have safety, the sooner, the better. And we want it now. We don't want it later because I want to be safe now. I don't want it to be some possible time off in the future. Okay. So we want it more. We want it faster. We want it now. But the paradox of money is that we focus on it so much, and making it, having it, keeping it, accumulating it, it becomes our top priority. And yet everything in life costs money, especially the things that make us happiest. So we have a fixation on making more money, accumulating more money, keeping more money, building wealth, which again is important up to a point. But the things that make us happy, the things that we strive for, the things that we want to achieve and accomplish, they cost us money. And that brings us to a crossroad, or it brings us to a fork in the road where we have to decide, when is it enough? And we always have this thought in the back of our head, like, well, I'll be good when. One day I'll have enough. I just need to make a little bit more. I just need to hit this number. But the problem with that becomes is that target is always moving. And we can see that because every time you make more money, your lifestyle increases. And even people who are extremely rich still get caught in the same trap. Millionaires want more money. Billionaires want more money. Because we live in a society that has programmed us to believe that money is the end all be all. And the reason that this is important, why I'm talking about it in regards to self-sabotage and quitting on your goals, is because this puts us on a very one-track minded pursuit. And that pursuit of money is one direction on this fork in the road. And the pursuit of happiness and the pursuit of fulfillment and the pursuit of what actually fills us up and lights us up quite often tends to be down a different road. So having the wrong money mindset leads to self-sabotage in that we talk ourselves out of things because we don't have enough money, or it costs too much money, or it's not worth the money, or all these other things around money, where again, money is important, but it's not the end all be all of life satisfaction. And the thing when we understand that, we also have to think about our spheres of influence and our spheres of control, right? If you remember, going back to weeks 2 and 3, we spoke about these spheres of control. And the only thing that's inside our sphere of control are our actions, our awareness, and our thoughts. Money lies all the way on the outside of our sphere of influence, outside of everything else, because although we can influence how much money we make, right? Like I can get more skills, I can get a better job, I can get a raise, I can start my own business, I can do lots of things, but I do not have direct control over how much money I make. Meaning I cannot say with 100% certainty, this year I want to earn $500,000 and have that be 100% happen every single time. I cannot say, I want to make this much money. I want to have this much money in my bank account. I can set these as goals, but I cannot control that outcome. And we have to realize this about money because we put so much credence into money and how much money we have and how much money we make, but we don't control it. So all of that mental energy that goes into money, again, I understand that it's important. I understand that we live in a world where we do need money, but to hyper fixate on it, sets us up for frustration and burnout and puts us in a place where we will quit on our goals. And we'll start to understand that money is not the end all be all of life. It is not the ultimate goal. It is a goal that we need to work towards up to a point, but it is not the end all be all. But we cannot control it no matter how much we want to, no matter what expectations we put, no matter what shoulds we put. We cannot control the amount of money we make or the amount of money on our bank account. Again, you can work hard to get a promotion, but you can't 100% dictate the amount you get paid. You can try, you can work, and you should do these things, but that doesn't mean that you can control it. So the reason this is important is because when we think that we have control over money, we think that the answer is then, well, yeah, well, I need to make more money, so I'll just simply pour more gasoline on the fire. More gasoline being more time, more energy, more work harder, work more, work longer. But in reality, we don't actually control it. It's not a direct correlation of one more effort equals one more money, more hours equal more dollars. Like to an extent, it does work like that, but after a while, there's a disconnect. So what this leads to is trying to do too much, too fast, with too little coming back, and that ends to overload and burnout. And this is where self-sabotage comes in, because you can only go down this path for so long before you physically or mentally get burned out and end up quitting. And it doesn't have to be quitting on your money pursuit. Usually it's quitting on our other pursuits. So it's a health pursuit that we give up. It's having a better relationship. It's going to therapy. It's spending more time with your kids. It's the things that truly bring us joy and happiness ends up going on the back burner because of our hyperfixation with money. So does money matter? Of course money matters. Again, I've said it from the very beginning. I'm not saying that you shouldn't make money or you shouldn't care about making money, because at a certain level, money is safety, right? You do need to be able to pay for your rent. You do need to be able to pay for the food on your table. You do need to be able to give clothes to your kids, and you want to be able to be afforded a certain level of lifestyle, and that's okay. Right? Because you can't think about these other things. You can't think about getting healthier when you're starving. You can't think about, meditating when you don't have a safety and you're living in a bad neighborhood. So there's certain things that, yes, we do need a certain level of income and money. And to a point, focusing on that is important. But after that, we've seen many studies replicate this, that money only buys happiness, quote unquote, up until a certain point. So around, and this is in America in recent years, in the around 2017, 2018, 2019, around $60,000, we start to lower stress. So if you're making less than $60,000, things are stressful because you're struggling, you're paycheck to paycheck. Okay, but about $60,000 a year, that stress starts to lessen up. around $75,000, people start to feel more satisfied. It's like, okay, I'm at a place where I am pretty content. And at about $90,000 a year, the average American adult is satiated, meaning they have all of the things that they need and most of what they want. Now, of course, our wants scale, right? So as soon as you're making a little bit more money, you start to want more. You start to want more vacations and more this and more that. But the fact of the matter is, what you need is satisfied with a much lower number than most people think. So money can make you happy, but studies have shown this over and over again, that the people who are the happiest are the people who use money to buy experiences rather than possessions. So people think they need more money to have a fancier house or a fancier car or the newest phone or the new watches or something like that. But those things do not actually make us happier. What can make us happier, which money can do, is experiences, things like vacations. However, these are also things that you don't need money for, right? So you see that first picture is a family in Disneyland. The first picture is a family in Disneyland. The second picture is a family in their backyard. And we often equate money and experiences with things like travel, with things like, again, going to Disneyland, going on vacation and things like that, which we do need money to do, right? That makes sense. However, a big part of the joy, the happiness, the fulfillment that comes out of these things is not going to Disneyland so much as it is taking 5 days to not be working and spending with your family. Right? So we conflate these things. We think like, well, like, of course, I still need money. I need money to go on vacation. But do you need money to spend quality time with your family? Do you need money to be more present with your kids rather than so wrapped up in your work and your day to day? So the people who are the happiest are the people who make the most of their days and live in the moment. And money can add to that by enhancing those experiences, but using money or searching for money as a way to find more possessions is more often than not a true way to find happiness. And the reason this is important is because we've talked in previous weeks about learned helplessness. And when you are continually doing something, searching for a result and not getting that result, eventually you will give up. So if you are continually searching for more money, searching for more money, searching for more money, even if you're getting it, if you think that that more money is going to, in the end, lead to a higher enjoyment of life, a better life, a more fulfilled life, and it's not happening, eventually that's going to lead to frustration, overwhelm, burnout, self-sabotage, and quitting, right? So the constant pursuit of money, it seems logical, like, oh, I can just, I need more money, money buys more things, money buys more vacations, I have to get more money so that I can then get this thing, so that I can then invest in myself, so that I can then spend more time with my family. And again, under a certain level, that's true, but once we reach a certain point, we'd be better served to simply focus on the time. And it's hard because we live in a mindset of scarcity. Scarcity being, we always feel like we do not have enough, not enough money, not enough time, not enough resources, not enough anything. And this comes from all around us, comes from society, it comes from the media, it comes from the stories we tell ourselves. We develop shoulds and expectations around money. It's from our parents, right? If you were raised with parents who always said, money doesn't grow on trees, we're always going to feel like we don't have enough. Now, especially in today's social media driven world, we're always feeling like we're keeping up with the Joneses. So because we see so many people with fancy cars or fancy whatever, fancy watches, fancy vacations, we feel like we are lacking those things and we should have those things. And we feel like we are less than and we have less than. And that keeps us on that hamster wheel of pursuing, because we are comparing ourselves to others. We are expecting that we should have more. But again, this isn't real. These are stories that we tell ourselves. These are stories that other people are telling us, that the media is telling us, and it gets internalized. But all of scarcity boils down to this. We are focused on what we lack. Okay. Living in scarcity is focused on how much money I don't have, how much time I can't spend with my kids, how much vacations I can't go on, how the car that I can't afford. Living in scarcity is focused all around lack. And that is a losing game, because we can never be happy when we're focused on what we don't have. This, again, it leads to feelings, not enough, and eventually, ultimately, feelings of unsafety. We're so focused on what we don't have, on I only make $60,000 a year, I'm not $100,000. I only make $100,000 a year, not $150,000. I only have a 2017 car, not a 2021, 2022. I haven't gone on a vacation in a year. I have all of these things, these comparisons, they feel like lack. And again, because to our brain, safety is the ultimate goal, and money equates to safety. When we feel like we don't have enough money, we feel like we are not safe. So your brain starts to set off alarms and alarm bells saying, we need more money, we need more money, we need more money, because then I'll feel safe, then I'll feel better, then I'll feel okay. But in reality, that feeling of lack comes from living in comparison to others, to shoulds, to expectations. And that will never go away with any level of income. What we have to do is flip the priority of what we focus on, because unsuccessful people put their highest value as money. The most successful people in the world value time over money. They understand that money is a currency that is only as good as what we can do with it. It's not good or bad. It's not evil. It's not I need more. It has a value, and we can use it for certain things. But time is finite. We only have so many years on this planet. You only have so many days with your kids. You only have so many hours each day with them. So the most successful people do not look at money as a scarce resource, regardless of how much money they have. When I say successful, I don't mean successful in a monetary sense. Yes, it can be, because rich people do this. But I mean successful in the sense of having what they want, being fulfilled. People who live successfully, who feel successfully here, they make the most out of their time. Not focused on making the most money, but instead focused on using the time that they have the most appropriately, right? So going back to what I was saying before about using money on experiences, how can I make the most of my time? Is it the fact that I'm going on a 5-day vacation that I need to really bond with my family? Or can I spend time with them today, right now, this weekend, here where I live, but actually give them my time and be there and be present? And I might understand that might mean me making less money. I might not be able to put in the overtime at my job or do the extra work that would make me more money, but I'm valuing my time higher than I'm valuing money. And again, the reason this all equates back to self-sabotage is because this is what allows us the breathing room to keep going. Because when we are so overwhelmed and over frustrated, eventually self-sabotage kicks in and we quit. There's only so long you can push before something snaps. You can only bend a stick so far before it breaks. By valuing your time and understanding that, yes, money is important, but time is the most important resource, you can make better decisions around how to allocate that time. And that will allow you to take a step back and actually do the enjoyment now, rather than the, oh, I'll be happy when. I'll take more time for myself when. Oh, I'll read more books when I can down the road. We have to use our time now as our most precious resource. There's a saying, I was just in Iceland a few weeks ago, and there's a saying in Iceland, I think it's pronounced Peta Radast, and it basically boils down to meaning everything is going to be okay. Things will always work out. And this is like the national saying of the Icelandic people, because in Iceland, it's a very hard place to live. It's mostly mountains and almost nothing grows there. It's cold like 10 months out of the year. It's dark for like 6 months out of the year. Like the sun doesn't even go up for months at a time. It's a very hard place to live. So the people have become very tough. But this saying basically is that everything is going to work out. And they have to believe that because that's the only way they can get by there. The universe will find a way. And this is the opposite of living in scarcity. This is living in abundance, is understanding that nothing can be put in front of me that I cannot handle. And things work out, even if they're stressful right now. Living in scarcity is thinking that life is taking from a finite pie. So one pie right there on the left. And if we live in scarcity and it's a finite pie, that means that if you take a slice, that's one slice that I don't get. If that pie can be cut into 8 slices and that's all there is, I have to fight for every single slice. I have to fight for every morsel. I have to fight for every bite. And this is how people look at life and they look at money. I need more money. If I don't get it right now, I'll lose it forever. I have to work hard now. I have to get it all that I can. I have to accumulate. Living in abundance is understanding that we are not fighting for a piece of the finite pie. We live in a bakery where there's always more coming, right? And you doing well and making more money does not affect me, and me doing well and making more money does not affect you. And in fact, we all build each other up. And if I leave money on the table for right now for going to experience something with my family, I don't lose out on it. Someone else doesn't take it. There's always more coming. Living in abundance allows us the breathing room to, again, not face the overwhelm, the frustration, and the burnout that is going to force us to quit. It's so important because, again, I understand that money is important. I'm not saying that you shouldn't want money or that you shouldn't seek to be financially successful. You can strive for more. You want to have nice things. I like to have nice things. You want to go on nice vacations. I like going on vacations. But we have to understand that having more specifically does not equate to more happiness. This is not my opinion. Scientific studies have shown this over and over and over again. And I say all the time, millionaires, billionaires commit suicide every year. Once you understand that money cannot buy happiness. So there has to be something else. And the reason this is important to understand is because when you are hyper fixated on money, you cannot see abundance. So abundance, if living in scarcity is focusing on what you lack, living in abundance is focusing on what you have. It doesn't mean that you have more. The point is that instead of focusing on, oh my gosh, I only make $60,000 a year, not $100,000. It's focusing on what can I do with that $60,000? How can I enjoy it? Instead of focusing on, oh my God, I haven't been on a vacation in so long. I can't even afford to go on vacation. It's focusing on, okay, but what do I have? I have a park down the street where I can go with my kids and we can play and it doesn't cost us any money. It's focus on the things that we have. And this matches perfectly with our spheres of control. Scarcity is focusing outside of our sphere of control. It's all the things that we want, but we can't force, we can't control, we can't change. Abundance is focusing on what we have and what we have control over. And the reason that this is so important is because you can only have one of the two. You can only focus on abundance or focus on scarcity. And when you are focused on scarcity, you can't grab onto anything else because you're so clinging on the things that you have, right? The things that you lack. You're so clinging on the money that you don't have, the money that you haven't made, the money that you do have because you don't want to lose it. You can't grab onto your new life. You can't grab onto your health, your wellness, your better relationships, the business that you want to build when you're so hyper focused on making more money or the money that you have right now and not losing it, or the money, or again, the expectations, the shoulds. If you want to be able to accept the new gifts that the universe is going to give you, we have to be living in abundance and understanding that there's always more coming. If I miss one train, there's another one coming 5 minutes later, right? I lived in New York City for most of my life. That used to happen all the time. I'd be coming home late at night and I'd miss the train just as I was getting into the station. I'd see it pulling off and I'd get all upset as if there wasn't another train coming 10 minutes later. Like, yeah, I had to wait 10 minutes. It's not the end of the world. So money mindset and the hyperfixation on money and its importance in our value system comes up a lot. It's always going to come up right in the beginning in what I call the contemplation phase, when I'm thinking about a new endeavor, right? So if I'm thinking about getting healthy and joining the gym, starting a new diet, planning a new business routine, finding a new therapist, whatever the thing is, when I'm contemplating it, my first safety brain is going to go straight to, can I afford this? Do I have enough money for this? Is this realistic right now? Where am I going to get the money for this? All of these different things start to come into play instantly. And that's natural. That's, again, your brain trying to keep you safe. But these are the thought gremlins that I'm always talking about that sneak in, that try to stop you before you even start. Is there a level where you can't actually afford something? Of course there is. But more often than not, it's your brain seeking certainty, like we spoke about last week, certainty and safety in a world where certainty and safety are not actually possible. And then if you get past that, right, if you say you talk yourself through it, you go, okay, I am going to start it. It's always going to circle back around when we start to think about the shoulds. A couple weeks in, a couple months in, depending on the time frame of the project you're working on, should I really be doing this? Shouldn't I be farther by now? Again, shouldn't I have more money? Shouldn't I be saving more? So the money aspect, being that money is so pervasive in our day-to-day life and so necessary, it's always going to be in the back of our mind of, how does my goal now around my health, around my happiness, around building my business, around my relationship, around whatever I'm talking about, how does that interact with money? And that piece is always going to give us a little pause and give us reason to talk ourselves out of it. Going back to last week with the tattoo rule, the 95%, right? You're never going to be 100% certain. And there has to be some level of uncertainty allowed, because we can never know how things are going to work out, and we don't have direct control over the way anything works out when we are trying to better ourselves. So when we talk about our money mindset, the tools that I use are understanding your needs versus your wants. It's using your core values and less expectations. So needs versus your wants, very simple. Is it a need or is it a want? Almost always we conflate these things. Say, I need this. I need to buy a new car. I need gas, right? I'm like, of course I need gas. I need gas in my car. I don't know. Do you? Could you walk? Could you take the bus once? Could you ride a bike? Like, yes, I understand that we're needs. I understand that I'm nitpicking here, but in reality, the only thing we need is to eat, sleep, and breathe and drink water. We can get by with a lot less than we give ourselves credit for. I'm not saying that you need to starve or anything like that. My point is that when you are thinking about money, and when you are thinking about your own personal growth and personal development and building something, creating something, again, whether it's a business, whether it's your health, whether it's a healthy mindset, whether it's a future for you and your kids, realize that you started that for a reason. Okay. You had this idea for a reason. And this thought of, well, I can't afford it. This thought of, it's too much money. This thought of, I'll be able to do it in another 5 years when I save more. Yes, sometimes that is true. Sometimes there is no way around that. But many times we use that to talk ourselves out of it as a form of self-sabotage, because it's scary. We say, I need to be able to afford X, Y, and Z. Well, I can't invest in this because I need this, right? I can't invest in another course because I need to pay for, my next vacation, or whatever the thing is. We have to stop conflating needs and wants and be very honest with ourselves when we're talking about not only where we're spending our money, but where we're spending our time. Time and money, right? I've been talking this whole time about our money mindset, but saying how valuable time is. Spending your time needs to be accounted for as well. Then we can think about our core values. We did a few weeks ago the core values worksheet, where you went through and found your 3 to 5 top core values. So very simply, does where your money is going match up to what you say your core values are? Your values are the filter through which you can decide am I spending correctly? If you say that your core values are health, and then you look at your balance sheet and you're spending money on going out to dinner and going out to bars and drinking alcohol, and you're not spending any money on Whole Foods and gym membership, then those things don't match up. If your core values are family and your time, right? Because this time as well, and your time is being spent at work, and your time is being spent doing things by yourself, but none of your time is being spent at the playground with your kid. None of your time is being spent with your family. Then again, those things don't match up. So we have to use our core values as the lens through which we view things. Because if not, there's too many options to do. So our core values, the reason this is so important is because now you start to see, all right, is this something that's worth spending my time, my energy, my money on? If my core values are, again, family and health, then me taking a day off of work to have a hike with my family might be worth it to me. Yes, I'm making less money, but I'm living my core values. And what's the point of making more money if I'm skipping over the things that I'm saying are truly making me happy anyway, the things that I'm supposed to be working towards in the future anyway? And then the last thing is simply less expectations. Have less expectations. Ever since the beginning of this course, we've been talking about how expectations will hold you back, right? So expectations around how much money you should have, what life should look like, where you should be financially, what you should be able to afford, should, expectation is only going to lead to unhappiness, which is going to lead to frustration around what you're doing, and it's going to lead to you quitting. Because, as we spoke about in the beginning, bettering yourself usually costs money in some way, whether it's investing in a gym, a personal trainer, whether it's taking time from your day to work on a new business that isn't making any money right now, but it's going to make money down the road. It all costs. And if we have expectations around the number in our bank account, if we have expectations around too many things, it's going to creep into our brain and say, well, this isn't working. This is going the opposite direction. My bank account's supposed to be going up and it's going down. We have to quit. And I have this quote here from a Buddhist monk named Achan Cha. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it says, if you let go a little, you'll have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you'll have even more peace. So wherever you're attached, let go of that and come back to the center. Learn to see all movement of life with balance and openness. And I just love this quote because it's simply that. Let go. Less expectations. Understand that life is going to be what it's going to be. Peta radast, right? That quote, that Icelandic saying, things will work out. Yes, money is important. I'm not sitting here and saying that you cannot think about money, that you don't need money. That would be asinine to say. What I am saying is that a hyperfixation on money causes us to miss out on the things in life that we are actually trying to make money for. And that by working towards being happy, being fulfilled, you will inherently need less money because you'll find that the things that truly bring happiness, again, it can be spending time with your family, it can be exercising, it can be working on your business. These things, the things that truly light you up, are the things that spending more of your time on will give you more in the long run. So have less expectations around what things should look like, around what your bank account should look like, less paying attention to keeping up with the Joneses and whatever other thing we're comparing ourselves to, and understanding that we cannot control the amount of money in our bank account. We cannot control the world that we live in, right? We live in a time of unprecedented inflation right now. There's so much outside of our control. So while we do need money, we have to look at it as a tool rather than a means to an end. That's it for today. I'll take questions.